Hello and welcome back to the Citizens Fancast. As always, I'm your host Evan, and after taking last week off from video, back on video today. So if you want to go watch that and you're listening right now, video is uploaded on YouTube. So feel free to go watch that there if you prefer to do that instead. But beyond that, big week for City. Last match prior to the international break. So with that being said, no match preview this week just because it doesn't really make sense to preview a match 2 weeks in advance with the international break, not being 100% sure on injuries and just not knowing, who's fully fit and everything. A lot can change. We've seen it happen before in international breaks. So we will tackle that next week. And for now, we will just get into this last week. So without further ado, let's get right into the Fulham match, right? So from the start, obviously, Jeremy Doku gets his start. Kind of figured he would. It's not often that you bring a player in and then he's going to sit on the bench immediately the first two matches and not get any time. So I kind of figured he was going to start regardless just because he didn't get any minutes in the last match. So you assume that he's going to come in and give some minutes and kind of show why he was brought in and everything, and just, the reason he's here. So expected him to start. He did start. No surprises on that. And beyond that, the only other small blip in the match was just Grealish with his injury. No, I don't have any details on that yet. I'll get into injuries a little bit more, but I guess I can cover Grealish now. So, missed the match, and I don't have any other information on that, on how serious it is or anything. I don't even know if he's still in the England squad or not. So, from what I know, it's not too serious, but I guess we'll see in the coming days and weeks and whatnot if it's anything of concern. So, with that being said, the people who are celebrating Grealish being injured or just celebrating any player on our team or just any player in general being injured, don't do that. Shut up. Again, it's all these fake plastic fans who just think, oh, Grealish doesn't do anything, blah, 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 needs to score. Just shut the hell up already. Like, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of coming on here and having to address this. Like, just shut up. Like, plain and simple. Because, like, at the end of the day, he's on our team, he's helping, he's contributing, and that's basically what he's here for. So he's doing incredible, and people who think otherwise don't really understand how to interpret the match from my assumption. So that's kind of the big point for there. But like I said, Doku starting with Grealish injured. Obviously, he's going to start regardless. Sorry, 1 second here. I apologize for that pause, and if you're watching on video, me leaving the screen, but my cats were causing some trouble, so I had to take care of that. Anyway, carrying on with the rest of the podcast. This is incredible. If you're watching or listening, I'm sure a little more entertaining if you're watching. So feel free to go watch that, like I said, on YouTube. Just me disappearing, and you probably heard some noise in there. But anyway, carrying on. The cats are fine, but just a little bit annoying. Anyway, back into the Fulham match. From the get-go, I noticed this last match of what we've been doing, and that long ball play that we did at the FA Cup, it seems like we've been trying that again. Pass back to Ederson. Everyone kind of goes upfield, long ball over the top to Holland to see if he can lay it off or get it to somebody else for an opportunity. I find it a little amusing that it's only worked against United, but I think if we continue to try it, that it'll pay off again in some way, and we'll get an early goal again. So interesting that we continue to do that. It seems like a planned play from the kickoff, which is, I guess, something a little weird you don't usually see, but I like it. It's worked before, so why not try it again? But with that being said, far as the formation goes, Akanji again moving up into that Stones role, doing very, very well. I know some people went after him in the first match that he played in it, and that he didn't do the greatest, and he didn't. In all honesty, it wasn't his greatest match, but he has improved his performance since then, and just he seems poised and just kind of in control now, and less of a, I guess, he's not hurting the team in any way, and he's helping the team in that role. So I do think Stone still plays that role a little bit better. We'll see once he comes back if he jumps into that role, and whether that moves Akanji back into the back line or to the bench. But I'd expect to see Stones back, and back in his role, because it is the Stones role, as we all know. I mean, there's really no other way to describe it, because it's not that inverted fullback term that we've heard so much, because obviously that's not what Akanji is playing. It's not what Stones is playing. We have Walker who's playing that role. So interesting to see how the formation will be once Stones is back, once De Bruyne is back. But we got a couple months until we get our full squad back. So for now, we just play without them, and if we continue to win and then can continue to add players on top of that after the fact, it's just all the better for our squad. So I love Akanji in that role. I love Stones in that role. I think Ake would do well. I really think anyone would do well in that role. I think the only player I wouldn't want to move up into that role would be Diaz, and that's just because I don't want him out of position defensively. I'd rather have him in our squad or not in our squad, in the back line, and able to contribute in that way, as opposed to on the attack and moving forward. But the first part of the match was a little interesting. I mean, the first half was really just kind of poor. It was a poor performance, in all honesty. A lot of sloppy passing, giveaways. It just felt like we needed more energy. We were off our game. Like I said, I don't remember a time I've seen that many misplaced passes in a half from our squad, and then just it just never it never like equalized. We never got it back to the point where, like, in the first half, it just felt like nothing could go right. We couldn't complete all our passes and everything, and it was a weird performance. I don't blame any one player for it. It's not the lack of creativity thing. It just felt like the entire team just lacked energy in a way, and we didn't have the right mentality, probably is the way to go at it, to really approach the half. But Walker started very well. He was winning the ball back a lot after we were giving it away a lot. So for him to be able to do that helped us a lot, just stopping counterattacks and whatnot. Good for him to continue to contribute. I know I've seen a lot of... We saw all the rumors, obviously, with him potentially leaving. It does look like he's going to sign a contract with us now, or has already signed a contract. Obviously, nothing official has been announced, but I'd expect to see that in the coming days. So good for him to stick with our squad and continue to show that he's got a place in it and he's able to contribute to us. And that's what you want. And, you know, I saw something about him sitting down with the team essentially and saying, you know, we always have to make a comeback in the title race. So what if this year we don't have to do that and we can just coast? And, you know, and I'd love for that, honestly. I'd love for us to be able to get a big lead and go out and, you know, win the first 10, 15 matches and get a good lead that we don't really need to. Obviously, you still worry, but where you can just have a lead where, you know, maybe we can win the league by 20 points again. Something like that, where if you don't have to put so much energy and effort at the end of the season, that's how you win those other trophies, right? If you can relax on the weekends in your Premier League matches, well, then that makes all the more energy you have for those Champions League matches in the midweek, or the cup matches in the midweek, or just however the schedule lays out. It makes it a lot easier when you don't have to play comeback like we did last year. Obviously, it worked out. We still won the treble, but I don't think this team is done, right? This isn't the end of, you know, we won the treble, we won a Champions League, and now we're done. I think this team's got a lot of special things that they can accomplish yet, and I don't want to say anything about where I think this team can go, because I think the sky is the limit, in all honesty. I think the want and the desire is there. There's no complacency from what I've seen. And like I said, we're not even playing with a full squad right now. So to be able to not have a full squad and then still be in a position where we can improve and, we're winning matches. We're the only team that's won all 4 matches. So to be able to be in that position and have a player like Stones and De Bruyne come back into that lineup, I think the biggest thing for us will be we're going to play 3 or 4 months without De Bruyne. We're going to learn how to play without him. We're going to learn how to win without him. It started already, right? And then he's going to come back. And then it's like, if we can already win without him and he can jump right in and be his normal self, who can stop us at that point? We're going to be unstoppable, and that's what we all hope for, right? An unstoppable force. So it'll be exciting to see how these next few months go. Obviously, like I said, we have the international break now. I hate the international break this early. You just get started going in the season. Everything gets going, and you get excited, and you have game every week, and now you got to wait 2 weeks for another cup match. So try to watch some international matches here and there, but I don't. It doesn't give me the same satisfaction as watching City play. So I'll watch matches. I love to keep up with our players and everything like that. But beyond that, it's just, especially when they're friendlies, like, it's, who cares, right? And that's kind of my feeling towards it. So back into the Fulham match. I'm getting distracted, but anyway, it seemed like that energy we needed came when Foden started getting the ball and getting more involved on the ball. So as always, he's always energetic. He's always going to try to create an opportunity for himself or somebody else, and it came with him, right? That's why he's such a great player, because he can come in and he can affect the game, and he doesn't need a lot of touches on the ball. Look at last week. He came in 3 minutes. He was incredible, right? So from the get-go, it's like, give him the ball again. When De Bruyne is not there, he needs to start, and I feel like that's the vibe I got last year, right? It felt like we couldn't do a ton without De Bruyne or Foden or both on the field, and it's kind of feeling that same way again. And I know we have a ton of great players, and that's not anything towards them, but you need the certain players with that creativity and the ability on the ball to create opportunities for themselves and to others to be able to, create chances for us. So Foden, incredible as always. Just his runs in behind, his close control, his balance, just being able to weave in and out of defenders is just absolutely insane. So energy came with Foden. Not long after, we got the ball to Haaland with a run in behind and lay off to Alvarez, 1-0, and it kind of goes against what everyone says, right? Haaland can only just do tap-ins. He's not a playmaker or anything like that, but I think we're seeing a lot of what Haaland and Alvarez can do together. Both of them, again, were incredible in this match. Alvarez's movement was insane, right? His runs off the ball, his runs to get the ball were just incredible. It seems like every single time he made the right run, somebody was able to find him, and that's a credit to the entire team, right? Because it's those things I said where it's like, yeah, you need a Foden or a De Bruyne, but when you can get those moments of magic from other players, you don't need those players all the time. It's the players willing to step up, and it's the Kovacic's and the Kanji and Walker and Rodri, players like that, who you don't expect them to do stuff like that, but when they do, it just opens up so much more if they can be that playmaker. And his movement to make the right runs in behind, to find the right passes to Haaland, and just to have that link up. I fully believe that we probably have, if not the 2 best strikers in the league, we definitely have the best. If not the 2 best, we definitely have 2 in the top 5. And even saying Alvarez is 5th seems like an insult. So to have that kind of just ability to have both of them to be able to rely on is just an incredible luxury for our squad, in all honesty. And they're both young. We brought them in for less than other teams are bringing in, one player. So just incredible, just ability of our management to be able to negotiate. Their negotiations are just incredible. So great for them, for us, and for them, in all honesty. But 1-0 didn't last long. Ake with a bad touch to give away a corner. On the corner, he left his man. 1-0. And it happens sometimes, right? I'm not going to dwell on the fact that Ake made a mistake, because at the end of the day, everyone's going to make a mistake, right? It's football. Everyone does it. Everyone's going to make a mistake at some point. But the thing is, it's how do you learn from the mistakes, right? I feel like I've been told that in life before. It's not about not making mistakes. It's about when you make a mistake, how do you learn from it and how do you improve from it? And I don't like getting down on our players. I'll call it the way it is. He made a mistake giving away the corner in the first place, and then he made a mistake leaving his man open at the back post. But plain and simple, that's all it is. You can't, I'm not going to, start attacking Ake because of it, because he's a great player for us, right? So 1-1 kind of sucks. In 2 minutes, we went from up 1 to a tie game, and it felt like it was going to be difficult, right? The entire match, I said our passes were bad, but a lot of it was too because of Fulham's defending. They were organized, they're tough to break down. It felt like those diagonal runs and diagonal passes are what we could use to break them down, and a lot of that was Alvarez and Foden and Doku and Foden switching sides as well, switching wings. It just, switching the players and having them attack from different sides and stuff like that, it does a lot. Going up against different players, maybe Doku matches up better on the left than he does on the right? You don't know. It's things you have to try and try to keep going in the match. But credit to Fulham. They were defending very, very well. And it looked like it was going to be 1-1 going into half. Ake gets left wide open on a header on a corner. Header it perfectly placed into the bottom corner. 2-1. Big offside discussion, and I will get into that more. In my personal opinion, I think it was offside. But given how the rules are, right, you can't call it, right? Rashford's goal last year set the standard of if the player doesn't touch the ball, then it's not offside. If the player tries to move out of the way of the ball, then it's not offside. And that's what it was, right? I hate the rule. I don't think the refs fully understand the rule. It's another rule I hate. I said a couple weeks ago with the handball rule, and it's dumb. I hate it. I hate the offside rule. I hate that we have refs that don't understand the offside rule. But at the end of the day, it is a goal for us and for everyone to overreact about it. And, as always, the little club that nobody cares about, but yet everybody fucking freaks out about how, everything's going our way again, blah, blah, blah. You have these... Sorry, I'm swearing a lot. We have these compilation videos of just like, this is all the things they've gotten away with in the last 5 years. And it's like 4 instances, and half of them are just made up things. And it's like, you could make a video about some of these clubs already. You can make that many things for some of these clubs already in this season. And yet you want to go and find 5 instances in the last couple seasons. And some of those, I'm sure people saw the video, but some of those instances were literally, first of all, in the Champions League. And it's very well aware that UEFA seems to have an agenda against us. So that discussion, and it was made by a Liverpool fan as well. Do I even have to bring up the James Milner pass to Sane that was called off for offside when Milner passed it to Sane? Come on. You guys are really going to forget things like that? But of course you will, because you're so dense and just like you're so obsessed with our club that you just can't get over the fact that like we're better than you, and you just have to blame the refs. So there's my rant on that. I have more of a rant on that coming later, but there's a little preview of what I've got going. But into the second half, 2-1, obviously. The passing needed to improve. We needed to be able to possess the ball better, and that's essentially what happened. In the first 5 minutes, you could already see that it was better. It was going to be better, and we could possess the ball better. We could hang on to the ball better. Our passes weren't going astray anymore, and it felt like it was only a matter of time before 2-1 became 3, became 4, became 5, and that's what happened. And in these instances where you do have a controversial call like that, you want a game to get that out of control so it doesn't even matter. And you can say that it changed the game because it was the second goal and it was right before halftime, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, if the Fulham players were that demoralized about it, then they don't have the right mentality to be out on the field, in all honesty. It sucks. I've played for years and I've been screwed over on a lot of calls. And yeah, you're pissed off, but do you want to just stop playing? No, it motivates you more to play harder. So all the people saying that all the Fulham players just lost their motivation and they shouldn't want to be on the field anymore. If that's the case, then Fulham don't have the right players. They don't have the right players that should be playing for their club, in all honesty, because you should want to go and just make it irrelevant. They got this chance, but screw it. We're going to go win 3-2 or 4-2 or 4-3, whatever. Obviously the people saying that the players gave up have never played themselves, or if they did, they didn't play at a competitive level or have zero type of competitiveness inside them. So just a weird comments to make about it that would be why they lost the game, but whatever. I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, 5-1, and I hope 5-1 I just hope 5-1 pissed a lot of people off and ruined a lot of people's day on Saturday, because in all honesty, it made my day. So I'm not going to dwell on it. We won, plain and simple. We got the 3 points, and that's the way it is. So obviously, like I said, I've kind of already covered a lot of it, but 59th minute, Rodri found Alvarez into Haaland. Obviously, he's going to score 3-1, and then it became 4-1 on the penalty, and this is where I was talking about Alvarez's movement. Just a great run in behind and an incredible pass from Akanji, which is just part of what I was saying. To be able to make a pass over the top like that, in behind to Alvarez gets tripped. Obviously, Haaland takes the penalty, 4-1, and then start making some substitutions, which are great to see. Oscar Bob with the debut, and he was great. It was honestly a great debut. I can see why we have the faith to keep him in our squad. There was a point where I felt like he should have shot. He held it up a little bit too much. I was sitting there screaming at my TV for him to shoot. He didn't, but it's all good. And just a good debut for Doku as well. I think we saw what he can offer, his ability one-on-one to take on players. It felt like he was a little hesitant to do it as much, a little hesitant to create chances, more of kind of laying it off. But I think as he gets more comfortable and gets more time with Pep and is able to get more of those opportunities to show his skill and stuff like that, he'll continue to shine for us. It's only up from here, and I thought he had a really solid debut. We saw some minutes from Gomez and Calvin Phillips as well. Good to see them get on the pitch. Phillips smiling as always. So obviously he's staying with our club. We'll see if he gets a ton more time. Obviously we've brought in some players, so we'll see what happens with Phillips. I mean, I think he wants to be here. I think he had a rough first year, but if he continues to put in good time and train well, then there's no reason why we can't have him to rely on as well. So 5th goal, Sergio Gomez, again, one-on-one. Putting him on the wing seems to be a lot better than putting him on defense. Got the assist to Haaland for Haaland's hat trick, and just good for him to get a goal contribution. You always love to see it for these players who don't get a ton of time, and I'm sure it does them a world of confidence. So good for Gomez to get that assist, and I think he might be getting more minutes on the wing as opposed to defensively. As far as the rest of the match, or that was basically the match, but 69% possession, holy crap. So kind of what you expect, right? Around the 70 areas is kind of, I would say, what is normal for us. So 69%. For me, our man of the match was Alvarez. Foden and Haaland were very, very close as well. Obviously, with a hat trick for Haaland and an assist, and Foden's play is incredible. But for me, Alvarez's movement and just his ability to move the ball and make the right runs and everything, it was incredible. And it's nice when you have these matches where you can pick 2, 3, 4 guys who could be man of the match, and any of those three could have. So solid match. Like I said, 4 wins out of 4, 12 points, only team on 12. Teams on 10, I believe Arsenal, West Ham, and Tottenham are the only teams on 10. I could be wrong on that. I didn't do my research on that one prior to this one. So with that being said, into the injury report, obviously Pep was out this match again. Stones and Grealish I kind of covered as well. I expect all 3 of those back by the international break, or after the international break. And then obviously De Bruyne is going to be out for a couple more months as well. So those are our injuries. Hopefully the list stays at that and only gets shorter, where it'd be nice to only have De Bruyne on that list moving through the international break and beyond, to have a full squad moving into Champions League and more cup matches and whatnot. So into rumors and contracts. Obviously, no rumors anymore. Transfer window is closed. Kind of a surprise move. I kind of hinted at it before. Cole Palmer to Chelsea, $45 million. And I'd like to know what his thought process was this weekend with Chelsea losing, while he could have got some minutes against Fulham while we were up 4-1 and eventually 5-1. But it's a choice he made, and I think he wants to play more minutes, so I wish him all the best. But I think Chelsea have a ton of players, and I don't think they fully know what's going on inside their own club. So for them to bring in another player for that amount, I mean, I don't think I've gone on my rants about Cole Palmer, what kind of player he could become. I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if I'm wrong yet. I'm willing to admit if I'm wrong if it ends up happening. But I think that obviously he can't become Armara's replacement because he's gone. So we'll see what kind of player he becomes at Chelsea. I think $45 million, he hasn't proved that he's worth that yet. So it's hard to say no to that deal when they come a-knocking, and he's willing to make the move in his career. So like I said, I wish him the best, but we'll see if it ends up turning out in the right way for him. Another move for City, Matheus Nunes, in from Wolves, $55 million deal, or 55 million pounds. I'm not sure. I think it was pounds. Anyway, not dollars. 5-year deal, in from Wolves, like I said, midfielder. Makes it difficult with the whole Phillips situation. Like I said last week, I haven't watched him a ton. Portuguese player from Wolves. That's about all I know about him. I don't know a ton about him, so I'm excited to see what he can bring. It's not really worth for me going through and, in my opinion, and watching highlight videos or anything on him, because we'll see what he brings when he gets minutes. So my mind is a blank slate for what he can offer to us, and we wouldn't have brought him in if we didn't have high expectations for him. So I expect him to do great things, and we'll see what he brings to City when he gets some minutes. But with that being said, Tommy Doyle did go out on loan to Wolves. It felt like in an exchange with that deal, and I think there is a buy option on that loan, but I don't know. I don't know if he's in City's plan, so it wouldn't surprise me if that deal became official, regardless if there's a buy option or not. So I'd expect him to probably make that move permanent, and it's a good opportunity for him as well to be able to just get more minutes. James McAtee also went out on loan to Sheffield. Given his history with Sheffield, good move for them, good move for him. Get more first-team minutes. He's not going to get him as much at City anymore, so good for him to get more first-team minutes under his belt and then come back to City. That one I know there's not a buy option on. I think he is part of City's plan, just not in the immediate future. So I'm excited to see when he comes back what he can offer, but another year out on loan before we get to see that. Cancelo out on loan to Barcelona as well. That move became official on the final day of transfers. There's not a buy option because Barcelona has no money. So we'll see if they end up finding a way to make that permanent, but they don't have money, and he's already played a match for them. I see Barcelona fans in awe, and I just say be careful, because if you don't play him, you'll see what kind of player he can turn into. So I wish him all the best as well, but his attitude, as I've said multiple times, doesn't have a place at City. Again, I wish him all the best. He's one of my favorite players at City. I'll continue to follow him at Barcelona, and that's it. Like I said, I don't think he plays another competitive match for City in as long as Pep's around. So I think that's the bet he's kind of made with his own decision making. And the final contract news is Kyle Walker. Like I said, has or will be signing a deal, it sounds like, until 2026. And excited to have him back in our squad. It looks like he might be our captain. Not entirely sure. I don't know if that vote has happened already. It hasn't been announced yet who our captain will be. But, sorry, I'm talking a lot here, so I'm losing my voice. But looks like he will be with us for another 2 or 3 years. Like I said, not doing a match preview this week, but Champions League draw happened. We are in Group G. Not that the actual group letter matters, but Group G, for anyone who cares. We drew Leipzig, Red Star Belgrade, and Young Boys. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce Belgrade's real name. I don't have a clue. But I would expect it's an easy draw. Plain and simple, it's an easy draw. We've seen what we can do against Leipzig. They're our only competition, in my opinion. And I don't try to be this overconfident with things, but it's a really weak draw. And maybe that'll give us a chance to kind of rest players for the group stage, win the group easily. But I'd expect us to come out and kind of just destroy this entire group. So an easy draw for us. Let's get through the group stage. Let's win it. And then, like I said, Leipzig should be the only concern. And we took their best defender away. And we already beat them 7-0 with their best defender. And the 1-1 draw, he obviously scored their one goal. So I'd expect us to be able to beat them. And, you know, I don't want to be an arrogant, spoiled fan, but I did kind of want to get Madrid just because I think we can beat them again. But we didn't get them, so we'll just have to knock them out in the knockouts instead. And that's my extent of my arrogantness for the Champions League. Obviously, that'll get started up after the international break here, and I expect us to win the group. It's a weak group, like I said, and that's really all you can say about it. But a few other notes. Haaland won PFA Player of the Year and lost Young Player of the Year to Saka, which feels like it's a pity award for some reason. I don't know how you win Player of the Year and then don't win Young Player at the same time. Seems out of pity. We've won 4 of the last 6 Young Player awards. Really, it should be 5 out of the last 6 because Haaland honestly got robbed. But what are you going to do? He won Player of the Year, and that's more important. But we all know the Young Player of the Year award was a sham this year. So give Arsenal a trophy, I guess, because they don't get any, even though Arteta said he beat us in a title race. I would really like to know what he meant by that, because last I checked, we won the treble. They won nothing. They won the Community Shield, which is a friendly. Enjoy your dinner plate trophy. But beyond that, I would really like to know what his thought process was in saying that. Feels a little delusional, but they did beat United this week, so good for them, I guess. Always great to see United lose. But back into the awards our team won. Stones, De Bruyne, Haaland, Rodri, and Diaz in the PFA Team of the Year. All deserved, honestly. Ramsdale was also in it, not deserved at all. You can make an argument for most of the other Arsenal players. Him, I can probably name another 5 keepers that are better. I don't know why he keeps getting credit, but whatever. Then UEFA Coach of the Year went to Pep. UEFA Men's Player of the Year went to Haaland. And those are all the awards we won this week, which just leaves me with my one last topic. I promised you guys a rant on the reffing, so here it is. I'd just like to know why in every scenario, when a decision goes right for City or a different team, Liverpool, Arsenal, whoever, every single fan base, and actually that's not the road I want to go. When a decision goes right for City, it's always an atrocity and it's the end of the world and reffing needs to change. And I see so many United fans and Liverpool fans coming out and it needs to change and changes need to be made, blah, blah, blah. I could go on about the amount of decisions you've been given just about City, which are more than positive decisions City's been given in the last 5 years. But your fan base is so dense and irrelevant that you think that every single thing, if it's everything needs to change, but then when it goes your way, it's crickets, absolute silence. No one was saying anything when United's getting soft penalties and when Onana's, destroying a Wolves player, right? No one cares, right? The United players or the United fans, they like to say how, they just want it fair. They just want fair reffing. Well, if you want fair reffing, then call it the reffing when you get the positive decision. Call it out when Rashford gets away with something. Call it out when Onana gets away with something. No. Instead, you sit here and complain about the refs. You complain about how, nothing ever goes your way. People are buying titles, blah, blah, blah. Shut the fuck up, in all honesty, because, all you're doing is showing how irrelevant your opinion is and how stupid you are. All you're doing is just showing that you know absolutely nothing. And you know what? Calls are going to go the wrong way for some teams and the right way for other teams. But after yesterday, I'm seeing a lot of teams or a lot of United fans just, the Garnacho goal, I think it was onside. They didn't measure right. What? Are you serious? They have a highly technological system to do that correctly. Yeah, I don't always agree with it when you're offside by a centimeter, but it's even for every single team. You can't just say, I disagree. What the hell is that? It's just a joke. I'm just sick of it. Get your head out of your ass. Stop saying, if something goes for City that it's just, it's an atrocity. Shut the hell up. You get more calls than any other team in the world, in all honesty. And then you cry and complain when you don't get one. Get over yourself. But that's it. That's my rant. I'm done. I'm done with this podcast. I'm getting pissed off again. I hate those teams so much, and I just hate seeing stuff from their fans. It pisses me off. They piss me off, and I'm done seeing their stupidity. So I'm out. Talk to you guys next week. I'm not even gonna do my end of the year stuff. You know where to find me if you've been listening or if you found this. So I'm out. I'm done. See you next week.